She handed me the envelope with a smirk, the kind that made it seem like the whole thing was some inside joke I had missed. "Happy birthday," she said too casually. "I've given you everything." I looked down. Divorce papers. Clinical. Already signed. No conversation. No explanations. Just a neat little final act wrapped in an envelope. I smiled. Slowly. Not because it amused me, but because I'd been waiting for this moment. Then I looked up, held her gaze, and said calmly, "Wait till your lover sees what I recorded." The smirk vanished. Her knees gave out like someone had sliced the strings of a marionette. She crumpled to the floor, stunned, her whole world suddenly shifting under her. I didn't move. Didn't flinch. I just stood there watching her break open like I always knew she would. See, betrayal doesn't announce itself with fireworks. It creeps in quietly, whispering behind your back. It's a seed, and if you're patient, it grows. Eventually, the truth blossoms, ugly and undeniable. And I was patient. So very patient. We were married for 5 years. 8 if you count the years we spent building our lives before the ring. She was everything to me, my partner, my teammate, my confidant. We built a business from the ground up. Created a home together. Talked about our future like it was a blueprint we were both drawing. She was the spark I fed when things got hard. The calm I leaned on when life felt too heavy. Or so I believed. The first sign? So small it could have been nothing. Her phone turned face down during dinner. Not a big deal, right? A new laugh I didn't recognize. A name, Ryan, mentioned once then again. Too casually. Too easily. She called him a coworker. I called it coincidence. At first. But time sharpens your instincts. Something didn't feel right. Her smiles didn't reach her eyes anymore. Her excuses grew thinner, like tracing paper over something darker. So I stopped asking questions. Started watching. Quietly. Carefully. The kind of watching that doesn't disturb the surface. Confirmation came on a Tuesday. I remember the rain against the window, coffee warm in my hand. She was in the shower. Her phone lit up on the nightstand. I didn't touch it. I didn't need to. The screen showed just enough. Last night was perfect. I can still taste you. That was it. My proof. And yet no anger. No trembling hands. Just that same silence I'd cultivated for months. I smiled. Not because I was happy, because I was ready. From that day I made my moves in the background. I documented, I recorded, I prepared. Not for revenge, not for drama, but for clarity. And now here we were. Her hand delivering the end with a smirk, thinking she had won. But I had the truth. The evidence. And when I told her, she folded. That was the real gift. Watching her realize that I hadn't been blind, just waiting. Watching her learn that betrayal might be quiet, but so is justice. And justice? Justice is mine. I forgave her, but only because I had finally stopped being blind. I saw the game for what it was, clearly, bitterly. From that moment on, I ceased to be her husband. I became something else entirely. The architect of her downfall. I didn't rush. You don't set a house ablaze with a single match. You wire it, plan it, make sure it caves in on itself. First, I moved in silence. I installed surveillance. Discreet, encrypted, invisible. A tiny audio recorder tucked into the console of her car. Cameras hidden throughout the house, small enough to avoid suspicion, smart enough to notify me when they detected motion or sound. And then I watched. While I stayed late at work, she brought him in. I saw them on our couch, heard them in our bed. The same one we'd bought during better times. I listened to their whispers, their stolen promises, the pathetic sweetness they shared when they thought they were unseen. I archived everything. Time-stamped footage, transcripts, phone call logs, and location history. All of it categorized, stored, and backed up in a biometric vault, locked with a fingerprint that only I could provide. I didn't confront her. Not yet. Instead, I met with a lawyer. Quietly. I wasn't ready to file for divorce, but I needed to know what cards she held, and which ones I could steal from her hand. As it stood, she'd be entitled to half. Half of everything we built. Unless I had undeniable proof of adultery, clear, legal, admissible evidence. Which I now had, and more than enough. I went further. I reached out to an old friend, one in finance. A forensic accountant. We moved our joint assets into protected holdings, one account at a time, slow and subtle. Everything was clean, traceable, legal, but just distant enough to keep her from noticing. She didn't ask questions. She didn't suspect a thing. That was her first mistake. Then came Ryan. I met him once in a quiet cafe 2 cities over. He didn't know who I was, just a stranger making small talk. I asked him about his girlfriend. He grinned and started bragging. Called her his escape plan. laughed like he had won something. I left my coffee half finished and walked out. It was enough. I waited. Patiently. I knew her well, she was nothing if not predictable. Sentimental to the bone. She would choose a symbolic day to deliver her betrayal, to spin it into some poetic gesture. I bet on my birthday. And I was right. The night before, she kissed me like everything was fine. Whispered that I'd love her surprise. I smiled and told her I couldn't wait. The morning of, she wore red, her power color. She always wore red when she needed courage. She handed me an envelope like it was some kind of trophy. With a soft, confident smile, she told me she was giving me my freedom. I nodded, thanked her, and reached into my pocket. I pulled out my phone, unlocked it, and opened a folder marked closure. I tapped the first video. It was her in our bedroom with him. She froze. The color drained from her face. Then she lunged, trying to snatch the phone. I stepped back, calm and quiet. I've sent copies, I said. To my lawyer. To yours. And to HR at his firm. Her face twisted in shock. Adultery clauses, I continued, can be very inconvenient. So can workplace misconduct. She wavered, reaching for the edge of the table. Then she collapsed, fainted right there on the floor. I watched. I took a slow sip of my coffee. She came to moments later, dazed, confused, her eyes darting around like a cornered animal. "Why didn't you say anything?" she whispered. I knelt down beside her. Looked her in the eyes. "Because revenge," I said, "tastes better when it's aged." I stood, placed an envelope on her chest. Inside were the divorce papers, the same ones she had likely intended to serve me, only now rewritten. Full custody of the business. Zero alimony. Asset forfeiture clause attached. All signed. All final. Some men scream. Some punch walls. Some cry. Not me. I build. And when it's time, I break, cleanly, precisely. She gave me betrayal. I gave her consequence. They say betrayal is an art form. I disagree. It's messy, impulsive, clumsy. But revenge? Revenge is a masterpiece. And today the gallery opened. She once gave me everything she had. Today I took everything back. Happy birthday to me.